Hi, I'm Anna. Welcome to my channel. Here we're gonna talk about self-development, spirituality, and just exploring life, the universe, consciousness, all of the good stuff. So I thought, okay, what better way to start if not by just telling my spiritual awakening story? So this is it. Here we are. Welcome. Grab some tea. Let's just dive right into it. Before I start with the actual story, I just want to say that I've always had interest in the spiritual side. Since I was a child, I remember always asking myself these kinds of questions like, where do we come from? Where do we go? Where did we come from? Where did we go? Where did we come from? Can't I joke? No. Asking myself very deep questions like, what happens when we die? Where do we come from? Is this life all that exists? I always had interest in these kinds of themes. And when I was a teenager, I started watching a lot of YouTube. Yeah, learning more about the universe and the law of attraction, and that spirituality was a thing, and people had different beliefs and religions and all of that. And I think that was a very important time of in my life, because it really opened myself. No one in my life at the moment was talking about this kind of stuff, and YouTube really was a great platform for me to learn. But I never had like a consistent practice of spirituality or maintaining my spirituality in any way, shape, or form. There were phases in my life when I was closer to it and I was reading more and watching a lot of YouTube and documentaries about this stuff, and then there were phases where I was just going back to living my life without thinking that much about this stuff. So I've always walked this line, jumping from one side to the other, until 2023, where I had my spiritual awakening and it was a mess, let me tell you. Normally when you think, oh, spiritual awakening, it sounds so beautiful, so grand, so majestic, like, yes, spiritual awakening. The truth is, it's really hard. Let's start at the beginning. I grew up in Portugal. I'm Portuguese. I always loved my country. I never thought about just leaving. But after the pandemic and everything that went through in the world, in 2022, I hit a breaking point where I wasn't happy. I wasn't living nowhere near close the life that I wanted to live. I was surviving, living paycheck to paycheck with my fiance, and we just decided, fuck it, let's move. So we moved to the Netherlands, which is where I am right now. In the beginning, moving here, like the first month was really hard, because reality hits you in the face. You don't speak the language, you don't know how culture works, you are not a part of the country, and I just felt really out of place. I didn't know what I was doing, and that's where it all started. And I thought, okay, I'm just adapting. This is like a shock in the beginning, but it's gonna get easier, of course. And it does get easier, but not right away. So I started working at Benefit Cosmetics. It's a huge makeup brand. I admired the brand, to be honest. I still do, but it was completely different than I thought it was gonna be. I thought I was gonna love it and it was gonna be an amazing job, but I hated it. I've never been so unhappy in a job before. The problem was not the company or anything. It was really that job, that specific job, wasn't for me. And it's interesting because the moment that I stepped foot inside that store for the first time, my intuition, well, I didn't know it was my intuition at the time, but something inside of me just started screaming, no, this is not it. I pretty much ignored that voice because I just moved and I had no alternative. I stayed there, but since day one, things were not okay. Things didn't feel right inside me, ever. Like every day it was a struggle to get to work. Every day it was a struggle to be there. The job pretty much was sales, and I just felt really uncomfortable. I never wanted to be in sales, and I thought that I was really bad doing it, to be honest. And I just kept pushing myself. I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to make this work. Also, I was making good money, and I think that was a big part of it, of me staying as long as I did, because I thought deep within myself that I'll never get another opportunity to be making this amount of money. And the truth is, looking back, it wasn't. It truly wasn't. And it wasn't that much money as I had in my head. But coming from Portugal, where minimum wage is like 700 euros, getting here and getting a paycheck of like 2,500, oh my God. I thought, okay, this is my only chance to get this amount of money. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and ignoring myself and developing really unhealthy coping mechanisms. I just got really sad during this time. I was having a lot of extreme anxiety. I was having panic attacks on my way to work, at work, when coming back from work, on my off days, just thinking that I had to get to work. Actually, there were days where I just couldn't pull myself to get to work because I was having such bad anxiety and I just simply couldn't stop crying. All through that, I was pushing away, pushing away, pushing away, not listening to myself, not going deep, not hearing my own thoughts, not acknowledging anything that was going on inside me, which it was a mistake. When you ignore something that's going on inside you for a long period of time, sooner or later, life is gonna take you down for a second. So you acknowledge what's going on. And this voice inside my head just got so loud, so loud, so loud. It just pushed me down to my knees so that I would finally listen to it. And when I did, everything stopped making sense. When you are avoiding something inside you and then you finally acknowledge it, you need to stop, ask yourself, what the fuck am I doing with my life? What do I need to be happy? And my problem was always with that specific question because I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted professionally, personally. I knew that I wanted to have like a family and a comfortable life, but that was it. There's only so much that you can do if you don't know where you are going. And that's what was really scary to me, I think, was that necessary confrontation with what do I want? Who am I? Yeah, so I finally had to stop and listen to it and ask myself those questions. And I think every day for my beautiful, beautiful therapist, because she has done an amazing job. Let me tell you, she's an amazing person and she helped me so much. She gave me exercises on what I like to do professionally, what it made sense for me. There were two things that stood out. One of the things was that I never knew what I wanted to do for a job. I was never the kind of person that says like, yeah, I want to be a doctor when they're children and they grew up to be an actual doctor. I was never that kind of person. The only thing that I knew I wanted to do was help people, but I didn't know how, when, what to do that. So we really started to try to understand what could be done. What were my interests? What were my hobbies? What were the things that pushed me through and motivated me? And we kept coming back to things around spirituality. Once we got to the conclusion that it had everything to do with spirituality, we didn't know what. I didn't know if I wanted to read tarot. I didn't know if I wanted to go deep into astrology, if I wanted to be like a therapist. I don't know, man. There was so much at that time that I didn't know about this world that I really didn't know where to go to. But that was a nice first step. This path is calling me to do something with it. So that was nice. There was some sort of light at the end of this dark, dark tunnel that I was in. Another thing that I think is nice to mention is that I felt during all these months, I felt so alone. I felt like I was just screaming for help and no one was listening. I was drowning and no one was noticing. And that's the thing with going down this path. Even the people that love you and care for you and are the closest people in your life, they will not understand it if they haven't gone through it. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you or they don't support you, but they don't understand it. And looking back, what I was going through at this time was I wasn't aligned with my soul. And my soul was screaming to me, this is not the path. You need to come back home. You need to come back to what feels right for you. But you cannot ask people that are not living in this way with themselves, that are not living in their actual truth, and they haven't gone through this type of work. You cannot ask them to understand what you're going through, because they are not going to understand. And that's why the spiritual path is such a lonely path 9 times out of 10, because there's not a lot of people that grew up in an environment where other people know about this. I mean, maybe if your friends are in this field, or your family, it's one thing. But the majority of us, no, the majority of us come from emotionally unintelligent families or environments where people are just in autopilot and are not questioning things. And when you start to question things, some people will not understand. And that's not on them, that's not on you, that's just a different frequency that you're in. So you need to accept it. And for me, this was really, really, really hard lesson, especially with the few people that were, and some of them still are, really close to me, because they weren't listening when I was asking for help in my own little way. They just weren't listening, and I had to make my peace with it. So then when this happened and I realized, okay, I want to do something around spirituality, but I don't know what. I have a conversation with my manager, and I'm really happy that I was already in the Netherlands when this happened, because here companies really take into account mental health, and it's something very, very, very important in the workplace. So I have a meeting with my manager, and I explain what's been happening, and she knows, because I have been missing some days of work. I've kind of talked to her a little bit about panic attacks and the anxiety and all of that at the workplace. So we talk, we decide, okay, instead of working 5 days a week, I'm going to cut back and work only 3 days a week, and see how that goes, if it gets better. And that was everything that I needed. And it took away a little bit from the anxiety that I was feeling every day. Instead of feeling it 5 days a week and cannot relaxing on my 2 days off, I started feeling it 3 days a week, having 2 days where I was still really, really feeling it, but then having 2 days where I just came more to myself. I started slowly healing. I started building my spiritual practices, which to me are yoga and meditation. Two biggest things: yoga, meditation, and journaling, actually. So yoga was really something that got me in tune with my body, that allowed me to be present. I love yoga. I do yoga every day to this day. Then journaling was something that kept me in touch with my emotions and with my internal world. And then meditation was something that really slowly started to build my relationship with spirit and with my subconscious mind also. So these three things were really, really important. Another thing that I was doing a lot was working on my limiting beliefs, which in therapy I realized I had a lot. Really, really a lot around everything imaginable. So I had a lot of limiting beliefs around money, around work, around myself and my worth, around relationships, around what was possible in life. And all of that was in a way also keeping me stuck, because I had known for months now that job was not working for me, but at the same time I felt so stuck to it because I didn't believe there was something better out there for me. So I also became to journal a lot and to talk a lot in therapy about my limiting beliefs, and this is something that we started to work on also. But even with me getting better, I just was not okay still, and was not good still. So I just decided I'm just gonna quit. I have been here now for 6 months. I'm just gonna quit. And I quit my job. I didn't have another job lined up. But that was everything that I needed, because in a way it kind of relieved this pressure from me, like, okay, now I really need to find something else. And then I did. It was a very nice job that really helped me. It was the change that I needed to go through. And slowly changing my environment really allowed me to start to be a little bit better. And the more that I got in tune with myself, the more that I got in tune with the spiritual world, the more that I was reading about it and watching documentaries and YouTube again about it, the more that it started to open the door so that I could align myself with it, really. One of the things that got really, really, really ingrained in my mind during this time is that you cannot have spirit in your life if you don't make space for it. If your days consist of you working and then getting off of work and avoiding how you feel inside, avoiding creating a practice around spirituality, doesn't matter what it is for you, it can be totally different than what I said works for me. If you don't have a routine in place where you build your spiritual side, it's not going to grow. Simply, it's not going to grow. One of the things that also made a major difference for me, I think this is the point where everything changed for me. A year later, so I was in this phase for pretty much a year of my life. Then in the beginning of 2024, I took mushrooms for the first time, actually. And I'm not saying this, I'm not condoning the use of drugs or any substance or anything, but the truth is that psychedelics really changed my view of a lot of things. This is a really big and important part of my story because I took mushrooms for the first time and I felt source, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I felt it. And to me, that whole experience was a really big confirmation that this life that we live as humans was a choice. That can be really, really, really hard to accept sometimes, but I truly believe that. I felt it in my bones. I felt the presence of Source. I felt the unconditional love. I felt the greatness of my soul. I felt so many beautiful things inside that experience that after it ended, I was never the same. That experience really set in stone. We are souls living a human life, simulation, whatever. We are not humans. We are souls living as humans for now. That really changed everything for me because it really put my life into perspective. Now I'm not saying, okay, if you are really going through a hard time in your life and you are questioning everything and you don't know what to do anymore, please go take psychedelics. I'm not saying that. Of course, do your research. If you think this is going to be nice for you, freaking do it. To me, it changed everything. And my life changed a lot after that. So this was the story. I hope this can help you in any way, shape, or form, even if it's just to know that other people are going through it or have gone through it. You are not alone. You really are not alone. And maybe the people around you, close to you, are not going through this, but there are a lot of other people out there in the world going through the same experiences as you. Probably you'll feel really lonely in this path, but that's okay because you have yourself. You don't need a validation of other people to be who you are. And if people close to you don't believe in you, in your path, in your beliefs, it's okay. It's okay. They don't need to believe. As long as you believe and you allow yourself to follow that belief, that's everything that matters. And looking back at this experience, all of it was my soul calling me back home. And we as humans, a lot of the times, we don't allow ourselves to just do what feels right because we have so many responsibilities and we have so many ingrained beliefs around every little thing. We don't give ourselves the space to just be, to just do, to just explore and experiment because we are afraid of what other people would think, of how we're going to be perceived. But I'll leave you with this. Do you want to live your life or do you want to pretend that you are living your life? You don't need to dedicate your whole life to spirituality to be spiritual. I think that the most spiritual thing that you can do actually is to be human and enjoy your human life, because one day this life will also end and maybe you will follow your journey to somewhere else. where you need to go next. I don't know. And this life is just gonna be like this. It's just a blip in your existence because you are eternal. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know your experience down in the comments below. I hope this could help you in any way, shape, or form. I see you on my next video. Like if you liked, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I see you in the next one. Bye!